Hello, people of the world watching KP. So I just survived my first 100 days living on the road out of my 2004 Toyota Sequoia, and I'm gonna tell you some of the do's and don'ts of what you absolutely need to pack and what you can probably save your money on in order to survive your first 100 days on the road. Let's get into it. So let's see if I can get this camera to focus. Excellent. I have some extra lighting in here because the lighting in this garage is awful. And it won't work with me. There we go. So we're gonna start in the back of my Sequoia today and work our way forward. See what we do need, see what we don't need. So as you can see here in the back of the Sequoia, we are pretty stacked to the brim. And that's because I used to have this box on a flatbed trailer hitch right here. I'll throw some B-roll of that just so you can see what it looks like. And what I would say first and foremost is that you absolutely do need some sort of storage solution for your build, but be mindful of how you're gonna be utilizing that storage space. Case in point, when I had that box right here, this lovely drawer that I took hours to build with some very heavy plywood, which we'll get into in another video, you could only open it this far. I couldn't get all the way in, and guess what? This is a 4-foot drawer. None of that backspace back here I could access because of that storage solution that I had come with. Did it work? Sure. And if it's what gets you on the road, if it's all that you've got, that's great. But if you got the time and you've got some resources, I would highly recommend a roof box. The reason that I would suggest a roof box is because it's out of sight, out of mind. You're probably not gonna be going through any low clearance areas or parking lots anytime soon. So you might as well throw all the things that you should leave home without, but you might not necessarily need every single day on the road up there. This can be things like a battery jump starter, fluids. I highly recommend bringing fluids, especially if you have an older vehicle. That's a whole other story. You know, you should absolutely be familiar with the vehicle that you have. Don't just go buy a van off of Facebook Marketplace, throw a bed in the back and go. You should absolutely do some research about the mechanical history and the mechanical quirks and features of, shout out Doug DeMuro, quirks and features, of whatever vehicle you have. Before I bought this Sequoia, I didn't know much about them. But what I did and what led me to buy this vehicle is I did extensive research on the Sequoia itself, which is built on the Toyota Tundra platform and still is to this day, even on the newer generations, but also heavy research on the motor. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be a master Toyota mechanic or a master mechanic for whatever vehicle you decide to do, whatever kind of road life you want to do out of it. But you should know a thing or two about the common problems, how to fix a tire, how to change your oil. This can also just save you a lot of money in the long run. If you can diagnose a problem yourself without having to go to a mechanic and you have a couple simple tools in order to fix these problems, well, guess what? You're gonna save yourself time and money on the road, which is only going to keep you going with this lifestyle that much longer, which is super fun. Okay. So, hopefully you can see me. I'm blinded by the light, but I hope you can see me because we got a lot more of this video to keep us going. Right, Balto? Right. Okay, so anyways, enough funny business. The second thing that you absolutely need to think about before starting your SUV, RVing, or van life journey is being able to store and cook fresh food. Your solution can vary based on your preferences, what you're willing to tolerate, and the kind of budget that you have. I love a hot meal. Some people can survive off of granola bars and ramen, but that's just not my style. So this is my solution for food on the road. Keep in mind, I'm in the process of cleaning all this out. So like things in the truck look really bad right now, but I promise you there's gonna be a tour in the future and you better freaking subscribe and turn on that little notification bell wherever it is, because the tour of the updated setup is gonna be freaking awesome. This is also just like a great announcement for van life that like things get messy and you should absolutely be prepared for things to be disorganized, and you should try to stay as organized throughout your process as possible so that your vehicle doesn't end up looking like what I'm about to show you. Ignore all of that. What we're gonna look at is down here. Keep going, keep going. That's right, excellent. The next thing that I want to talk about for what you absolutely need on the road is a food solution that works for you. Not for someone else, not for me, not for the van life influencers and all the content that you've been consuming lately, but a food solution that works for you. For me personally, I love a warm cooked meal, so that's kind of my rule. I try to cook at least once a day. It keeps me sane, it keeps me healthy, and it keeps my slender figure while I'm on the road. That was a really bad joke. I'm gonna cut that out probably. So I have a very small fridge conveniently located right behind the passenger front seat of my vehicle. That's where it fit for me. I didn't have to build any sort of inserts to get this fit, and this is the quickest way that helped me get on the road. I completely understand that budget is absolutely a consideration. Car fridges are only getting cheaper and cheaper by the day. And I actually found this for free on Marketplace. Someone was just getting rid of it in my hometown and I just happened to find it. So it's not a name brand by any means. It's not large by any means. It's not like a fancy Dometic. But for me, since I was prioritizing bringing fresh food on the road, it was very important to not have to stop every single day or every other day to get ice from the grocery store. The world's only getting hotter and ice isn't cheap, so consider that when you're thinking about this is too much, because a fridge could actually end up saving you a lot of money. And if you're wondering what my fridge is hooked up to, you can see way over there in the corner behind the driver's seat of the vehicle is an EcoFlow Delta portable battery. Absolutely not necessary for a fridge setup. This fridge does in fact have a 12-volt adapter, meaning I could plug it into the cigarette lighter of my vehicle, but adding more electrical demand to a system that is only designed to maybe charge a phone or two could end up burning a fuse, or worst case scenario, running out my battery or killing my alternator prematurely. I don't feel like ending up on the side of the road or in the middle of nowhere. I decided to get the battery to save myself from that headache. Just something to consider. Again, your budget is whatever you feel most comfortable with. If you would rather see money in the bank for the potential possibility that you might break something mechanical down the road, that's totally your prerogative. But for me, if I can prevent something from happening and prevent a stressor in the future, I'm gonna take it 9 times out of 10. So this is a solution that worked for me. Let's go check out the dry storage space so you can see what kind of food and how much space I have back there. Okay, so we are in the back. Forgive the tight angles of this video, by the way. I don't have the right lens with me right now and I'm working with what I got. So I'm having to set up the camera in weird places in a very tight garage in order to get you the content that you want so badly. No, I'm just kidding. In order just to film a good shot. So anyways, we have the fridge up front. Like I said, if that works for you, great. If your budget only allows for a cooler and ice, that's totally fine too. I will never be a gatekeeper of not having all the gadgets and gizmos that all these overlander guys have on the road. But like I said, highly recommend a fridge, and it might actually save you money long term if you are planning to do this for at least a few months and you don't want to end up buying ice every other day of the freaking week. But here we're going to talk about dry storage for food. If you're watching my content, you've probably seen tons of other people doing this, and everyone has their own solution for this. But what I want to stress is that you need a solution that works for you. If woodwork is not your thing, maybe perhaps a plastic bin is what you do for food. Maybe that's all you need. Maybe you just need like a little shoe box. Maybe you just need a cardboard box. Whatever works for you and whatever gets you on the road and whatever keeps you comfortable and happy is important. But this is what I have. So I have a 4-foot wooden drawer made out of 3/4 inch plywood. I know, that's ridiculously thick for a drawer, but hear me out. I didn't have to use tracks because the wood was so sturdy. It's literally just in here with some sanded wood and some wheels on the end. It's a little bit of a mess right now. Like I said, stay tuned for an updated organization, tour, walkthrough of the new and improved Sequoia from Drew. But this is what I've got for right now, and this is what I've been working with, and this is what worked for me for the first 100 days. And it might work for you too. So up here, I've got my AeroPress and my cooking utensils. Those stay in the back of the drawer all the way up as far as I can get them. So that way, food is accessible towards the front of the drawer. So in the front, you'll see I have, if I can get a good camera angle, sorry, again, this lens is a little tight, but I don't have the right lens right now, so we're working with what we got. A spot for protein bars that I can grab quick and go. I've got some sauces, I've got protein powder, and this is my stove and my cutting boards. You'll see I've got just like a little Coleman propane camping stove, some rags, those are really important, and a cup. And like I said, this is all gonna get a lot more organized, I promise. You just wait and see. You wait and see. So we've gone over food, we've gone over storage. Like I said, both of these things need to make sense for you, and I'm showing you what's worked for me. The last piece of information I want to talk about is having adequate water and having a good place to store it. For me, I'll show you what I have and what I'm thinking about in terms of improvements. Again, for the millionth time, I promise you, this is going to be so much cleaner in like a week. You gotta stay with me. You gotta stay with me, hear me out. Don't click next. But don't judge me for how my front seat looks right now, because that is where my water is stored. And I'll tell you why my water is stored in the front seat, and I'll tell you where I'm actually gonna put it after I show you where it's been stored for the past 100 days. So in the front of the Sequoia, you'll see all we've got here. We don't have any fancy setups. We don't have any fancy pumps. All I've got is a 5-gallon jug. This lasts me and my dog Balto about 4 days on the road, depending on how much showering I'm doing. But this is why I also have a collapsible 2.5-gallon jug as backup, because you never want to run out of water. Having too much water is absolutely okay, especially if you're going to be in desert environments or other remote areas where you can't find water, you can't filter water. That's very important. All I use to pump that water is this USB-C battery operated water pump. It fits right into the top of the 5-gallon jug. I press the button on the top and water comes out. It works great. The battery hardly ever dies. I think in the past 100 days of using this every single day, I think I've maybe charged it 3 times. I highly recommend this. I highly recommend this setup. I think it's the simplest solution to get you on the road. You don't need any fancy builds or any fancy whatever. You just need to get a jug from your local grocery store, and you just need to get one of these from your local general store. I happen to get this from Walmart. You can get one from anywhere. There are several sites that you can get this from, but it works great. It works great. It's a simple solution. I think this costs like 20 bucks. So as promised, I'm gonna give you a few items that I thought I would need on the road. I thought it was worth the money at the time, but you absolutely do not need to get started with SUV nomad life. First up on the list, we have my CB radio, which I have so lovely Velcroed to my dashboard. It runs off of 12-volt power or battery power, depending on how you want to do it. I thought this was going to be a great tool for survival situations. The fact of the matter is, most people don't use CB radio anymore, and most phones have satellite. So is it helpful in certain situations? I don't know yet. I haven't ever had one chance to use it. I've only ever heard truckers talking on it, and even those are few and far between. In my opinion, I'd save your money, and I would just make sure that maybe you buy an extra power bank or 2 for your cell phone. It's always a good thing to check out these kinds of features before you find yourself in a situation where you need them. So I would highly recommend just checking out your phone, navigating to the satellite settings, and seeing if your phone is capable for that feature. Okay, this is the last time I'll say it, and I swear, mark my words, the next video that you see of this vehicle, the inside is not gonna look like that. But one thing that I wanted to point out back here that I thought I was absolutely going to need, a kinetic recovery rope. And this is not sponsored, by the way. Of course, I'm telling you not to buy it. But I thought there might be some sort of situation where I might need one of these guys and it might get me out of something hairy. Most of our Forest Service roads, at least today in May of 2025, are pretty well maintained by our Forest Service workers and our government workers. Perhaps that will change in the future. 90% of the roads that I've been on don't even require 4-wheel drive. The vast majority of any sort of camping situation that you will be in, you won't need something like this. And if you need something like a kinetic recovery rope, then you probably also need a friend with you. So number 2 on the list, other than the CB radio, don't waste your money on a kinetic recovery rope. I don't need it, neither do you. All right, and last up, we are in the back of the Sequoia once more to talk a little bit about one final thing that you absolutely do not need to spend your money on to survive your first 100 days living out of your SUV or whatever vehicle that you have. And that is a vehicle awning. So let's talk more about this. Awnings are great. I bought this Kelty Backroad Shelter brand new, and while it works great, I would say wait. And this is a good theme for almost anything that you're thinking about buying on the road. Less is more. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way in my first 100 days on the road, but Something that you don't think about is that stores still exist. You can probably find the product that you need when you need it once you've gone without it and you know for certain that it's something that would absolutely make your experience better. I've only used it 3 times so far. Maybe that'll change, but I mean, I've been in the middle of the desert, and even in the desert, I didn't want this. And you know, everyone's needs are different. Everyone's setup is gonna be different. But what I noticed when I had a tent is that one, I was really frustrated every time I wanted to set it up. And so I started off at every single campsite in a bad mood where I did set this up. And it made me feel kind of claustrophobic. Like, it made me feel like I was stuck in my car. And from a safety perspective, I also like making sure that if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I can get in my car and go without having to break any equipment down. So I try to keep the amount of things outside of my vehicle set up as minimal as possible when I'm camping. I've never had to leave in a hurry, but it's just something that I prefer. And when I do, if it's too windy, it blows around. It's got all those tent poles in it, so those are annoying. Like I said, nothing against this product. This is a wonderful, affordable solution if you do want an awning for your vehicle. But in my opinion, don't bother, get on the road, save the money, and then in a month or two, if you're still like, man, I really would love an awning outside of my vehicle, look into rooftop ones, look into things like this Kelty Backroad Shelter, and figure out if that works for you. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful to some of you if you're considering living out of your vehicle. Again, mark my words, the next time you see this setup, it will be more organized, but I hope that I was able to show you some of the do's and don'ts about surviving your first 100 days living out of your SUV. As always, my name is Drew. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.